Alright, here we are in Kerbal Space Program, and I'm actually going to do a Let's Play this time, and not like before where I was trying out the new version and found out that the laser docking port mod caused some strange issues. I did test it out after I removed the mod, and it definitely was the mod that was causing those launch supports to respawn in midair and cause the rocket to get torn apart. So now, as I said before, my other save file, which I've been doing stuff in, is the UKKR. As you can see, I don't know if you can see that because it's kind of small, but the UKKR is the very recognizable symbol of the working Kerbonaut, the lander, and the rocket. Yes. And now the USK is trying to beat them in the space race, but they're behind, so they need to get going. And first thing is first, they just need to get a satellite into orbit. So let's start by doing that. Let's get a satellite into orbit. And we're going to use one of these new probe bodies. I'm going to use the little one. We actually don't have to start with the probe body, but I just did. Oh well, it doesn't matter. And of course we want a battery on the probe body. Always need a battery when you're using the electrical things like this, because if you go in the shadows, then you gotta wait till you get in the sun again before anything works. So you always want some spare power. Let's get this a little higher. We're gonna need it higher. And let's stick some communications on. Do the communications do anything in this game right now? No. Will they in the future? Possibly, but you know, it's cool to make it look like it's actually doing something. That's how we have fun. Alright, so we got some communication stuff on it. We got that. We're gonna go ahead and add a fuel tank. Do I need one that big? No, I don't even think I need one that big. Let's go with this little one. That's probably all I need. And we'll go stick this little engine on it, and then we need some solar panels to keep this thing powered. This thing's small enough that we don't actually need the RCS on it. So yeah, let's go to utility, and we only need some small solar panels. Ooh, they changed this from AB, so it actually says 2x3 and 1x6. That's good, because I was always forgetting which one was which. Now I know, so I want the 2x... Actually, no, I want the 1x6 ones just for aesthetic purposes on this thing. We're going to go 2 on the symmetry. And slap those on there. Alright, so this is the satellite itself. This is what's going to be in orbit when everything's said and done. And while I'm at it, let's do some action groups. So let's go to the action groups. And let's do custom 1. I want the solar panels to extend. Actually, you know what? I want them to toggle. That way I can just hit 1 back and forth, whatever I want them to do. And now 2, I want to open up all the communication stuff. Alright, so there we go. I got some action groups. And before I forget and something horrible goes wrong, let's name this. So we're USK Comsat, yeah, Comsat Mark 1, and we'll save it. I'm not very creative with naming stuff, so yeah. Anyway, let's go grab us a decoupler. And we need a decoupler. There we go. Decoupler. I want the engine and the decoupler together. There we go. And now, some fuel tanks. 1, 2. And we're gonna put the LVT 45 because it's capable of thrust vectoring right there. Then, I actually didn't need this as high off the ground as I thought. Let's move this down just because some OCD like that. Then we're going to add tanks on the side, so we're gonna go to the symmetry. We're gonna make that 4, and I'm gonna do this. gonna slap those on right there. Then we're gonna slap 4 more underneath. Then we're gonna add the LVT-30. This doesn't have thrust vectoring, but it has a little bit more thrust. This actually, because this one in the middle doesn't have as much, it actually uses a little bit less fuel, so these 4 motors will burn out like 10 seconds before this one does, something like that, but we'll probably be well into space by then, so we'll see what happens. Get some aerodynamic nose cones on there. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't think I am. I think that's everything. Aha, I am forgetting something. I lied. I want SAS. Even though you probably don't really need it for this one, I like having SAS because sometimes I get lazy. What am I doing? Where am I going? Control. There we go. SAS. There we have SAS. Oh, these motors I want in the same group together. Let's go to structure. We're gonna add some struts to this thing to sure it up. I don't think we need too many on this one. If we had something with mainsails on it, we might want to think about it, but these should do the trick. Alright. So simple, 2 stages. First stage, gonna get us into space. Second stage, we'll complete orbit and make any adjustments if we have to. Get down a lot closer to the ground. Just, come on. You'll notice watching me build things that I can be OCD about stupid things that I'm building. But everyone kinda is about different stuff, aren't they? If you play the game, you watch other people building rockets and you go like, what are you doing? And what they're doing really doesn't actually matter. It's just different than how you do it, and then it ends up bothering you. Alright, so I think I got everything except for my launch supports. So put some supports in there. Why won't those attach? There we go. Okay, that was weird. Let's add these to there. I want those to go at the same time, and these shouldn't randomly spawn in the air because I removed that mod that was not updated for this version of the game. And there, that's the rocket. It's very simple. Let's save it. And all we want to do is get this in a low carbon orbit. In fact, I want it really low. And I'm hoping that this time's out right where I want this to actually run out before we get completely into orbit. That way, I can drop it and it'll crash back down into the atmosphere and I won't have any random debris flying around. But let's get to the launching part because that's what we're all here for, to launch shit into space. Alright, so we're going to throttle up to about there. I think will work, if I remember from when I was doing the test before. Put SAS on. And in a few seconds, the USK side of the space race is going to begin. And in the great words of Jeremy Clarkson, power! And there we go. I don't want to build too much speed up because we don't want to waste fuel in the atmosphere. Of course, I could have, put a nose cone on the top of this, made it a little more aerodynamic, but I think this will launch just fine without it. Because I don't even have the throttle's about halfway, roughly. Maybe a little over halfway, and I'm picking up speed just fine. So yeah, we're gonna let this go. Gonna start the gravity turn just at about 10,000. In fact, I could probably back the throttle off a little more. Oh yeah, perfect. As we get higher, it's got less drag to deal with anyway, so it'll start accelerating faster. So, slowly picking up speed, slowly gaining altitude. Don't need to do anything crazy. The SAS is holding us perfectly steady. And it's able to do that because this engine does have the thrust vectoring, although it's a pretty small basic rocket, so I don't think there's too much instability with it to compensate for in the first place. Alright, so we're approaching 7 kilometers. 7 kilometers. Just starting to gain more speed. 8 kilometers. 9 kilometers. We're getting ready to do the gravity turn in a moment. So let's add some throttle here and start banking this thing over. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. I'm not even touching the controls now, and it's just going where I want it to. Oh, I'm going to have to correct a little bit, though. Going for an equatorial orbit here. I want to go a little faster, actually. And at 90, I'm going to go just past 90. And hold it there with the SAS. Alright, now let's look at the orbital map. Make sure I actually have some control here. And gonna be going up to 40 kilometers. Getting there, we're getting there. Add a little more throttle here. Pick up some speed. Oh yeah, now we're moving. There we go, that's low curb in orbit. I want to go a little higher because I want some room for error. Alright. So, I think now it's safe to put the communication stuff out. Actually, I'm still a little bit in the atmosphere. I'm gonna hold off on that. Let's create a node. Even though I probably don't need one to get in orbit. I've gotten in orbit plenty of times. But if you're new to the game, then you can see a maneuver node in action. Alright, and that's fairly stable. We can adjust it once we're actually in orbit. Alright, I'm going to shut SAS off and I'm going to start moving towards the node. Ooh, this is going to be very slow to turn over because I don't have any RCS or anything on here, but I got time. Alright, I'm going to have to burn for 24 seconds. So I'll do it at about 13-second mark. I'll do it. It's just over halfway, but you need some time to throttle it up anyway. Come on, come to a stop, come to a stop. Ugh, overshooting. It's tough when you don't have any RCS, but once we ditch these tanks, we'll be good. Actually, once I throttle up, I just got to keep it near it until it's time to throttle up, and I'll be good to go. Right there. In fact, there we go. Alright. I'm gonna pick up speed. I might run out of fuel here. In fact, whether I run out of fuel or not, I'm going to stop it just before the orbit gets all the way, and I'm going to dump the big tanks so they're not floating around. And alright, periaps is low. Yeah, we were about to run out anyway. Okay, so we're through with that. Boom. Goodbye. In fact, let's get rid of this node. I'm going to shut SAS off. We're going to aim it up a little bit. How are we there? Apoaps. Actually, that's higher than I wanted the apoaps, but we're good. We are good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to press 1, and the solar panels are going to come out. Look at that. And then those will turn towards the sun automatically. And we're going to press 2, and communications open up. Haha. I love action groups. Alright. So with how small this is, that should be plenty of fuel to adjust this orbit the way we want. And then this debris over here, that's gonna fall back into the atmosphere, actually. Let's see. I want to show it. Oop, I didn't want to do that. Highlight everything. Highlight everything. Oh, that's... Yeah, that's gonna fall back into Kerbin. Alright, so we're good on that. Now what we want to do is we want to adjust the orbit because the apoapse is much higher than the periapse. The periapse is actually close to where I want it. So we're going to add maneuver and we're going to burn retrograde. See if I can't... yeah, that'll become the periapse. It'll be at 74. Alright, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to turn this thing around. Line it up with the node. The established burn is only estimated burn is only 1 second. We don't have to pick up a lot of speed. Lock that there with the SAS. It's pointing in the direction we want to point it at. Look at that thing. It's beautiful. Go to the orbit map so we can watch this. And we're getting ready to burn. I'm gonna do it right about now. Look at that, perfect. Alright, so the apoapse is now 76, the periapse is 67. That's actually not perfect. That's a little more than I wanted it to, but we can fix that right now. Ooh, too much, too much, too much, too much. Once you play this for a while, you start to figure out the nav ball. Alright, periapse at 74, apoapse 76. That's fairly stable. I think we're going to leave it there. And we're pretty well lined up with the equator as well. Maybe a ever so slight inclination, but it's not enough to get all fussy about it. Alright, so there we go. We have a satellite in space. And we can move it around and aim it and pretend it's doing something useful when really it's not doing anything useful. But hey, it's there. So let's just lock it into place with SAS and be done with it for now. Alright, so now USK has its first satellite in space. It has now joined the space race. So, let's go to the Space Center. And now we're gonna do a manned flight.